Before we get started, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of the content that is released by GoCollect. And if you're interested, head over to Regie Collects here on YouTube. Regie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector and the host of the GoCollect speculation video, and I want to welcome you to another episode. In this episode, we are going to talk about a host of topics, including some original art tied to 80s comic books, some movers and shakers, some hot books, and also some fantastic Frank Frazetta news. Stay tuned. If you saw last week's show, you know that we spent a little bit of time talking about some speculation around the upcoming Snake Eyes Origins movie. The next blogger actually picks up where the last one left off, in that he talks about whether some artwork tied to Snake Eyes could potentially be some fertile ground for speculation. And one of the first things that automatically comes to mind for a lot of people when they think about original art is that it's going to be extremely expensive and overpriced. But the blogger does a really good job of highlighting how that may not be the case for some of this artwork from the 80s. And he actually highlights in this blog post how a cover featuring Snake Eyes went for a little more than $2,000, which isn't terrible if you know anything about original art and the prices associated with covers specifically. So if you are interested in speculating with original art or Snake Eyes or G.I. Joe or any of that kind of stuff, this could be a blog post that you want to take a look at. And I'll tell you, speculating with original art is a little different from comics, but I think that there are a ton of opportunities there. This blog post is linked down in the description. Our next blogger takes a hard look at 5 books that are moving and shaking on the charts, in that these books are actively being sold pretty heavily. The 5 books that are on the list start off with one that is to be expected, and it is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300. And this book, as is the next one, are both on the list because it's Spider-Man, and these books tend to perform incredibly well. At a 9.2, this book had a last sales price of $750, but unfortunately has a negative return of 2.2%. Next on the list, Amazing Spider-Man 252. This book at a 9.2 and a last sales price of $133 has a negative return of about 19%. And those 2 books of the 5 are the only ones that are in negative territory. The last 3 books that are on the list actually all are in positive territory and have a catalyst that is actually fueling some of the excitement around these books, as well as the returns that are being seen. The last 3 books on the list include X-Men issue number 4, and this is the first appearance of Omega Red, and the catalyst behind this one is the possibility that Omega Red will appear in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show on the Disney Plus streaming service. This book at a 9.6 and a last sales price of $48 is in positive territory at 7%. The next book on the list, Ultimate Fallout issue number 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales. This book at a 9.6 and a last sales price of $355 has a positive return of 26%. Next up on the list, Spawn issue number 1. At a 9.8 and a last sales price of $152, this book has a positive return of 52%. And part of what is driving the excitement and the returns associated with Spawn is the belief that Todd McFarlane is actually going to make his Spawn movie. I encourage you, if there's something here that might interest you, I definitely encourage you to check out this blog post before you make any kind of decisions. Anyone that is paying attention right now knows that movies and TV shows are the fuel that make books take off in terms of value. And our next blogger takes a look at several books that are literally on fire right now because of all of the speculation around movies and TV shows. The very first book that is on the list is there because of season 2 of The Mandalorian. And I have not yet watched season 2, but I will tell you, I am excited to sit down and watch it. The book in question is issue number 1 of Star Wars. This book has actually jumped up 8 positions on the chart, fueled by The Mandalorian. The next book on the list is Avengers Annual number 10. This book has jumped an impressive 34 spots on the list, fueled by the belief that Rogue is going to make her appearance in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. She's going to steal the powers of Captain Marvel and usher in mutants, as well as Monica Rambeau, who may take on one of her various personas. And the fact that Monica Rambeau was seen in the trailer on the WandaVision show is not doing this book any disservice, or the rumors that surround this particular book. So Avengers Annual number 10, the first appearance of Rogue, is being driven by the belief that she is going to be appearing relatively soon. Just like with Miles Morales, this next book that is on the list is there because people are paying attention to everything that is happening with the Spider-Verse, and people believe that at some point Spider-Woman is going to make an appearance in a spider-related movie or an all-female cast type of movie. And because of that, issue number 1 of her solo title is on fire right now. And specifically, issue number 1 is actually jumped 14 spots on the list because of what we are talking about right now. There are 2 more books on this list that I'm not going to talk about, but what I will tell you is that one of those books has jumped up more than 900 spots on the list. The other has jumped up more than 300 spots on the list. And there is a chance that you might actually already have these books in your collection, and now might be the time to strike now that these books are on fire. The link to this blog post down in the description. Check it out so that you can see all of the books that are on fire right now. Our next blogger actually ties together some of the points that I've made earlier in this episode, in that they talk about the rumors that surround the upcoming Spider-Man 3 movie. And they literally walk through the various rumors that exist out there. And one of the main rumors that has been reported, widely reported, is that the 3 folks that have actually played Spider-Man in various movies are all going to come together in a single movie. And this will be possible because of some multi-universal, alternate timeline kind of stuff. And because of that, that is why, again, people think that potentially Spider-Woman could fit in here and Miles Morales, in addition to the other 2 actors that have played Spider-Man recently, specifically Tobey MaGuire and Andrew Garfield. And I know that a lot of people have their favorites among the folks that have played Spider-Man. And what's great about this movie, if the rumors are true, is that you literally will get to see all of them together on the same screen. In addition to talking about the various Spider-Man that could come together, the blogger also talks about the fact that Gwen Stacy, who died in one of the previous movies, could be coming back and could be taking up the mantle of Spider-Gwen. And then there's the rumors, probably more than rumors at this point, that Electro is actually going to be coming back and Jamie Foxx is going to reprise his role. He too died in a previous movie, but it seems like whether you die or not, like in comics, in the movies, you can actually come back through some kind of magic that gets made. This blog post does a really solid job of outlining the various rumors that exist, and with those rumors come some great speculative opportunities. Check this one out. This next blog post takes a look at 3 legends, specifically the legendary Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, and Ryan Stegman. And what the blogger does is actually highlights the first work that these 3 gentlemen did in the industry and highlights the specific books as well as some other projects that they worked on. And I'll be honest, I want to be on the lookout for some of these books because I was not aware of these before, and maybe you aren't either. That is all the more reason to check out this blog post. The link, you guessed it, down in the description. If you are a Frank Frazetta fan, you have to check out this next blog post. And you have to check it out because in it, the blogger sits down and talks with the granddaughter of the legendary Frank Frazetta. And over the course of this blog post, shares several wonderful anecdotes about Frank that I honestly never knew. And I enjoy his artwork. I just haven't necessarily done the research to better understand him as a person. But you don't necessarily need to do the research because the blogger actually does it for us and goes beyond some of what has been disclosed publicly before. This blog post is a long one, but it is worth reading because there are some wonderful anecdotes in here as well as a couple of tidbits for some things that his granddaughter and his family are going to do to continue his legacy. One of those things involves some statues that may be seen in Q1 of 2021 that are inspired by his artwork. Again, if you are a fan of Frank's work, which spanned a very long time, this blog post is one that you do not want to miss. So there you have it. We have reached the end of another week, and we covered off on a lot in this episode, but there was a lot of really good stuff. If you guys enjoyed this video, I want to encourage you to leave your comments down in the comment section so we can mix it up over the hours after this video is released. If you have some feedback for us or some suggestions, make sure you leave those down there as well because we'll be reading them. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up button and then tune in next week when we get to do this all over again.